protesters in New York City, and we have all the details. I'm Gabi Conti.
I'm Perez Hilton.
Woo! I'm Jana Rosenberg, and this is the Hollywire Tea Party, kicking off the week with some Addison Rae tea, you guys. So if you haven't seen, Addison Rae and Kourtney Kardashian just got attacked by anti-fur protesters while walking into the restaurant Locanda Verde in Tribeca yesterday. The protesters surrounded Kourtney as she was signing autographs while holding up posters and chanting, "Defend animals and stop abusing animals, you animal abuser, despicable animal abuser." Yikes. Addison walked into the restaurant, ignoring the protesters completely. Ironically, Addison was wearing an animal print dress. Luckily, there was no red paint around. Perhaps this protest was inspired by these besties' matching outfits from the night before, as the two wore matching burgundy leather, as Addison wore red burgundy leather pants with a camo Dolce & Gabbana crop top, while Kourtney wore a matching burgundy leather trench coat as the two went into a new members-only social house called Zero Bond. An eyewitness said the duo looked like they were having a great time and really do seem to be the ultimate besties, which everyone has so much to say about this friendship. I mean, the age gap, the fame levels, there's so much to be said about these two. Personally, I love this friendship. Perez, I know you love this friendship. I've watched your TikToks.
Two things quickly, though. First, when we say attacked, we just mean verbally. They were not physically attacked. They weren't pelted with anything. It was just a confrontation. Secondly, as you mentioned, not only are they friends, but they are dressing alike. They are coordinated with their outfits, okay? That tells you a little bit of the kind of friendship that they have. I'm all about the shipping. I ship the friendship. I even ship the relationship if it's more than just friends. You mentioned the age. I should be specific with that. Kourtney Kardashian is 40 at least, if not 41. And
41.
Addison just turned 20. So that's an over 20-year age gap. We can also speculate if it's not just friendship, if it's not just a possible romance, that Kris Jenner or even Kourtney is at work here. Maybe there's some business relationship at play as well, because I've seen this before. I've been around long enough to notice what is happening. What is happening in 2020 happened way back when, in 2006, when Perez Hilton took Kim Kardashian under her wing. And it wasn't just "you're my friend." It was, "I'm officially making you my best public friend." And they started traveling the world together, just like Addison and Kourtney are doing. And they've been spotted in New York multiple times now without their masks. I don't care if they're in public. They're in public, but they're also surrounded by Simon Huck and other friends. They're going out to places to party. It makes me want to rip my hair out. And I'm not just calling them out. I'm calling everybody out. I'm calling Adele, who was partying with Chris Brown in London this weekend. I'm calling Cardi B, who was partying in Vegas this weekend with a bunch of influencers in attendance like Nikita Dragon. My kids are still not going to school. My mom is locked in her house afraid. If we all did our part and wore masks, didn't go to parties, didn't throw parties, social distance, then this whole problem in America, which is still going on, and we have the worst case of COVID and deaths in the world, then it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, there was a while where Addison would not be seen out around Los Angeles without her mask on, which I was like, wow, she's really like leading the pack, influencing, you know, how things should be right now. People would ask to take photos with her. What was that?
Maybe Kourtney is a bad influence.
Maybe it's Kourtney, but like people would ask to take photos with her and she'd be like, "I'm trying to be safe. I don't want to get too close." Like Gabi and I saw this happen multiple times.
Perez, I agree with you. I think Kourtney is the bad influence because we saw this when they did their butt workouts together on Poosh's channel. Kourtney invited Addison over to her place for workouts. And this was when we were still like, everything was like quarantine. And Addison, you could tell when she was like, okay, but she was like a little nervous. And now she seems to be like full on, like just, I mean, you could almost say she was doing what Bryce Hall was doing at his 21st birthday party, but it's done in a much smaller group. But
Absolutely.
I mean, she had a different group of friends in LA bringing in her birthday party at the highlight room. And then she traveled. I mean, we're really not supposed to be traveling right now. It's pretty crazy.
You know, the Jenners behave according to their own rules. Kourtney flew with Addison, I'm sure by private, and that was their rationale, to New York, while Kylie was at the Cardi B party that I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah. It's
well,
crazy.
And then also with like getting like, and the other thing too is I was kind of curious about why were these activists, and you're right, they didn't physically attack, they were, you know, yelling at them and they were holding up posters in their faces. Why do you think these protesters were attacking Addison and Kourtney? Do you think it's because they have such a big following, and not only are they setting a bad message with like social distancing, but also they don't use their platform as an agenda to push like animal rights? Do you think that was what was happening?
Perhaps, but the realist or cynic in me thinks that they were just targeted for attention. Simple as that. This same group also, I think, justly targeted Jeffree Star a few weeks ago as well. If you can look at that video, it's an organization that their whole MO is to confront celebrities while they're out and about. Shock jock stuff that Howard Stern would do, or, you know, to get people talking, to get attention. I would say it's smart.
I think so too. I feel like this is always so interesting because anytime Addison gets any kind of backlash, whether it's voting, who is she voting for, not wearing a mask, she's always going to come back and use that to her advantage, which I think is something she might even be learning from, I don't know if it's Kris Jenner, I don't know if it's Kourtney, but I mean, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised in the next week or so if we see her being like, I support animal rights in whatever retrospect it may be, you know, like I see that completely happening.
Well, we have to remember she just turned 20. And as somebody old enough to almost be her grandfather, we should be empathetic. We should be understanding. When you're 20, you're an idiot. When you're 20, you make a ton of mistakes. All through your 20s and your teens, that entire 2 decades worth of time, that's when you find out who you are and when you learn the most.
Absolutely. And doing it under a microscope, though, Gabi and I talk about this all the time. Like, I'm so interested to see what these next couple of years lay out for Addison Rae. Have we ever seen anyone rise to fame as quickly and as abruptly as Addison Rae?
Yes, absolutely. There's nothing different or special about her, although she's very likable and
relatable.
And being around long enough, I will make the bold and expert assessment that I think Addison Rae will have a much longer career than Charli D'Amelio.
Wow.
And right now, based on everything, I don't clearly know her analytics, but if I had to go into her TikTok, I would say that her audience is far more diverse than Charli's. Whereas I think Charli's is much younger skewing. Addison appeals to a broader demographic of people, older people and different groups of people. Charli's very white, but Addison, I think, appeals to more than just white girls that see themselves in her. And she's making smart decisions. She got into the world of podcasting before Charli did and seems to have more personality. And she's also recently announced that she's going to be acting as well. One of the ways to truly ensure your longevity is to reinvent. You can't just be one person who does that one thing, or people will forget about you. And reinventing in acting is the smartest to do, because you have influencers before her like Lauren Gray or Madison Beer who've tried to venture out into the world of music, but music is the hardest of all show business jobs. Even if you have a ton of followers on social media, it will probably not happen to you just because there's only so many spots available every year, radio or even playlists. Like, it's just really, really hard to crack the music industry. So to give it a go in acting, I think is much smarter and much more attainable.
What do you think will happen though if the movie ends up being a flop, or that the fans comes true that she can't act? Like, do you think that will hurt her career, or do you think she'll still be able to come up from that?
Listen, as we've seen in 2020, everybody's last resort is OnlyFans. And if and when she does that, she will make millions of dollars. I
So
hope
true.
I hope that she is getting really good financial advice now. And that's something that I wish that I had when I was starting out. I would actually love to sit down with her and any young influencer and give them career advice and financial advice, because I've done it all and made the same mistake or worse before they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like,
so
for
true.
something really basic, Addison may be spending a lot of money right now on styling. Getting a good stylist in Hollywood is not cheap. But is that necessary? No. Your mom, her mom, works with her or is part of her team. Her mom can function as the liaison with all the labels, the fashion houses, because I'm sure they would all love to dress her now. So instead of spending $5,000 or more a month on a stylist, have your mom get the relationships, reach out, and save yourself that money, and then invest that money. Invest it. You got to be smart.
So true.
You're so true, because she was wearing a Dolce and Gabbana top. I don't think like a style like that's not a brand. Everyone knows Dolce and Gabbana. Like, this is an opportunity for her to work with new stylists and to get that stuff for free because she's doing them a benefit. And also when you look at Beyonce, that's like Beyonce's mother acted as the stylist. And Addison Rae's mom has a background as a makeup artist. So, I mean, it's in the same world. I feel like she could figure that out. And it does look like she has a stylist right now for sure, or at least is borrowing clothes from Kourtney's wardrobe.
I was gonna say, like, if I was hanging out with Kourtney, I'd be like, can I scope your closet? Like, I don't know. I feel like she has so much that she could hand down to Addison, you know? So that's
Totally.
so true.
I just want to talk a little bit more about Addison and Kourtney, because of course Addison fans are very confused, as well as Kourtney fans, about this age gap, which Perez, you did touch upon a little bit. As we know, Addison just turned 20. Kourtney is 41 years old. The two have been hanging out a lot, but also been getting a lot of backlash since they first were spotted hanging out together. And now they're seemingly inseparable. Anytime the two post pictures on social media, the top comment is usually from concerned fans wondering, what do these two talk about? Addison recently opened up about her bond with Kourtney by saying, at the end of the day, I think friendships are just what you make them, what you have, like the time you spend with them, the things you enjoy doing, and if you have anything in common, it just makes sense. I don't think that anything is really to judge people on. I feel like friendships can range from any age, and I feel like everyone can relate to people in different ways. Kourtney and I just happen to have this great friendship, which is really fun. She's a great person to have in my life. And she said in my YouTube video that I have this great energy that she liked to be around. And I think she has this great energy as well. And she has so much experience in her life that I could really just look at and learn from. So that was the answer that she gave Entertainment Tonight very recently. Perez, what do you think about that? Do you think that is all true? Do you think that there's something else going on in their friendship?
I think that there is definitely an element of truth to that. And I'm not that bothered by this friendship of convenience that is also probably a real friendship too, because it's not like Millie Bobby Brown, the star of Stranger Things, who was texting Drake when she was just 14 years old. To me, that is inappropriate and weird. Drake should not be texting a 14-year-old girl, but a 19-year-old girl who was 19 when she first started hanging out with this 40-something Kardashian, that's fine. She's an adult. She was a college student before her career took off on TikTok. Yeah. I think that it is a parasitic relationship. They both get something out of this. In many ways, it reminds me of my relationship with Lady Gaga back in the day. We were both using each other, but also still had what I thought was a real friendship. Kourtney gets to appeal to a younger demographic who maybe isn't as into her as they are Kylie or Kendall. And Addison gets to appeal to the Kardashian Jenner brand, which is money.
Yeah. And I feel like she fits it so well. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. It's like this evolution of Addison Rae. Like, we interviewed her here at Hollywire back in December. Completely different girl than she is now in her little Dior crop tops and, sleek hair. It's wild to see, but I have to say, I'm so here for this friendship. I think it's great. I think there's no one else that knows fame like the Kardashians, and love them or hate them. I feel like that Addison can learn so much from all of them. And Kourtney, I mean, I feel like it's just fun. I feel like she's fun. I could see her and Addison really getting along. And I love this friendship. I'm here for it. I don't think the age gap is weird at all. So yeah, I'm happy for her. Like I feel like she's just such a sweet girl. And like, this is great for her.
Well, and I think the thing that really bonds Addison and the Kardashians is the whole getting backlash. The Kardashians have gotten backlash through their entire career. Addison's getting it too. And just to kind of bring it back to this whole animal rights thing, like I feel like that is going to be the next thing as, you know, Addison is becoming a makeup, like, you know, co-founder of a makeup brand. Like I feel like PETA is going to be on her butt, whether it is for, you know, for getting attention or if there actually is things. I feel like this is just another backlash that she's going to have to address. Do you guys think she will address it? Do you think that she'll apologize, or do you think she'll just, you know, keep on moving on?
She should address it. That's one of the things that I've learned along the way. Yeah. There's no such thing as bad press. The only bad press is no press. You need to keep your name and face out there. And you got to turn those negatives into positives, like Pitbull says in that one song that he raps about. You know, you could say, this is a teachable moment for me. When I launch my makeup brand, it will be cruelty-free. It won't be tested on animals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and it is, her brand is cruelty-free, sorry.
Right, but it's wonderful that this happened. It's wonderful that she was next to Kourtney because it keeps her in the mainstream press.
Yeah.
That is the key to longevity and the key to success, because there are for example, this one TikTok star, Bella Poach, she has blown up over the last 2 months, went from nowhere to now having over 20 million followers on TikTok, but she gets barely any mainstream media coverage. Her success probably won't last, but Addison Rae's does, because she will get and continues to get mainstream media coverage. Whether you like it or not, Jake Paul and Logan Paul will likely continue to have careers because they get mainstream media coverage.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? We always talk about this here at Hollywire. The digital influencers are constantly creating their own story. They're like staying ahead of the headlines. And I feel like Addison has positioned herself in a way where she is just constantly doing that. And it's really cool. And I think she kind of owes her fame to her ability to do that. I mean, even the makeup line, like that came out of nowhere, you know, we were like, what? Okay. Like that's cool. Now we all want to wear it, you know?
It probably isn't even that strategic. You know, when you're hot, things just come to you. It's you're hot. The key is when you're not hot anymore, what do? That's when it helps to actually have talent and personality and an incredible work ethic. Somebody that has kind of fallen off in 2020 is this TikToker named Noah Eubanks. He was one of the it boys of summer 2019 on TikTok. And I'm a veteran of TikTok. I've been on there 1.5 years now, but people barely talk about Noah Eubanks. He barely gets views like he used to because he stopped putting in the work. And actually, that is something to be concerned about with Addison. If you go and look at her TikTok right now, she has posted today and yesterday, but then there were a few days she took off. You can't get lazy. You can't take days off, especially with something easy as TikTok, where you can just save a bunch of graphs and publish one a day. Come on.
Well, speaking of that, Perez, remember when she went she like didn't post anything for a whole week and everyone was like, what happened to her? But I mean, I guess that was good press for her because people had all these like theories that she was pregnant with Bryce Hall's baby and like all this stuff. But I mean, if she continued to go off the grid for longer, that could have definitely hurt her career because she only hit 1 year at that same time of being on TikTok. And that is like, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Like that is why we know her is from TikTok. That's how Kourtney Kardashian knows her. And yeah, you're right. I feel like her TikTok game has been lagging a little bit.
You have to have an incredible work ethic because this hasn't changed. The world of the internet and social media is fast. Somebody can blow really quickly, but just as quickly, they can be forgotten. I mean, look at the original TikTok, YouTube. The top YouTubers of 5 years ago are not the top YouTubers of 2020.
Right.
Tyler Oakley, for example. Tyler Oakley was one of the top YouTubers of 5 years ago. Now he barely gets any views on YouTube.
Right.
You have to keep reinventing and you can't get lazy. Tyler Oakley, for example, he's gotten lazy on YouTube. He only uploads once a week. And the top YouTubers, they're putting out videos more than once a week. You need to evolve with the platform. The platform back in the day was, sure, you can post one YouTube video a week and that's good. And that's what some of the TikTok stars are now doing, but they're hot, they're young, their fame is new. As you evolve and grow and mature, your content needs to evolve, mature, and grow, and you need to do what works on the other platforms. You can get away with just once a week now if you're Addison Rae, and she did upload a YouTube video recently, which I saw, or if you're or any of the other ones, but eventually you have to work harder and work harder. And the thing is that they're so young, all of these, they just want to have fun and party, and they don't often have the work ethic that is required.
Right. There's a lot of options too, you know, left and right every day. It's someone new. It's exciting. Speaking of that, Addison is really good at making friends in Hollywood since the beginning of her career. When she was in New York City, she was also caught hanging out with someone a little bit closer to her age, Stranger Things star Noah Schnapp. We know that Addison is tight with Noah's Stranger Things co-star as well, Millie Bobby Brown. Since Addison split from Bryce Hall, fans have been anxious to see who Addison is going to date next. The TikTok star has made it very clear that she's single and ready to jingle on Twitter. So fans are quick to ship Addison with any guy she's spotted with, like Noah Schnapp, except one fan pointed out, people really be out here shipping a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old. That's illegal. I don't see Noah Schnapp and Addison Rae getting together anytime soon. But you know who I do see her getting with? And Gabi and I have talked about this before, but He's All That co-star is freaking adorable. He's like at such a good point in his career. I'm so interested to see when this movie comes out, what kind of PR stunt or real relationship we're going to get from this, because I feel like it might happen.
Well, what's for sure is she definitely won't date a normal dude. Right. She is smart enough to know she needs to date either another influencer or even bigger. I wouldn't be surprised if she aimed bigger, like dating a popular musician, like a Shawn Mendes type. Not Shawn Mendes, he's still with Camila Cabello, but dating a musician or dating a big film star, or even getting real scandalous. Imagine if she dated a 30-year-old actor. Ooh.
I would love that for her. I think she needs someone older. Men below 30 are just goodbye.
And she's the oldest in her family, so I think that also like says a lot about her maturity level. She's very close with her mom. And I mean, the fact that she gets along with Kourtney Kardashian, that could be a sign that her boyfriend will be significantly older than her.
Something I've always wanted to know, since you guys are the Addison experts, or maybe some of the Hollywire viewers might know the answer to this. Her father, Monty, is that her biological father or her stepfather?
Yes. So Monty is her biological father, but the reason of why they don't, and they have similar eyebrows, you can see it in the eyebrows, but the reason why they don't have the same last name is because Sherry was not married to Monty at the time that she gave birth to Addison. So Addison is Esterling. And now Monty and them are together. And also Sherry and Monty had a pretty rocky relationship that solidified around the time that her younger brothers were born. So they are biological. But I mean, there was an absent father in a chunk of her childhood, which we know what that translates to with dating sometimes.
Right.
We're all like, I think she will be fine in the dating game though. Like I even think the Bryce Hall relationship, I think that was so good for her. And I totally understand why fans everywhere ship them so hard. I feel like they were really good together for a while. And I also think we have Bryce to thank for like the rise of Addison. You know, he really helped her out, and then
Jana,
in turn,
Perez's face as you're saying this is not agreeing with anything that's coming out of your
I think so in the beginning, though. Am I wrong?
Oh. No, you're totally wrong. I mean, Bryce Hall has been around for a while, since the Vine day. If anything, dating Addison Rae helped Bryce, not the other way around, because she got the hype and she got it real quick, as can happen on TikTok. And it does. That's what I love about the platform. I'm wearing my Stevie Nicks t-shirt now in homage to that dude who vibed and all of a sudden now has, I think, around 3 million followers on TikTok drinking the cranberry juice. TikTok is like no other platform out there.
Right.
So inspiring to me to create content on there, all kinds of content from entertainment news to just silly videos as well.
Yeah.
But if anything, I think Bryce brought her down because he is mired in drama and controversy and just
True.
seemingly not a good dude. And even when he claims to be better and do better, he then goes and gets in a fight outside of a restaurant and doesn't. You know, he says one thing and then does the other. And personally, I'm glad that that is done and over. Even though he sent her flowers, she's not taking them back, thankfully.
She's not, and I don't think she should. I don't think she should. I agree with you there. But I liked the beginning of them. I was a fan.
I think she's on to bigger and better things. And speaking of amazing things, Perez Hilton, your book, TMI, My Life in Scandal, I absolutely love it. I am just getting into it. This is a must-have book. You can get it wherever books are sold, and also audiobook as well with you narrating, correct? Wherever you listen to books. So you guys have to check that out and learn everything about Perez Hilton, who is incredible. And we're so grateful that you joined us today.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Perez, what can you tell us about this book and about maybe like some patterns that you're seeing with the TikTok community that you saw when you first started covering celebrities?
Yeah, there's nothing new. Even, you know, we've seen it with the original TikTok community. You know, the original TikTok stars, nobody cares about anymore. Lauren Gray, Baby Ariel. We sort of care a little bit about Danielle Cohn, but you want to know why? Because of the drama, because of the controversy. If you're basic and boring, like, oh God, I want to get hate for this. In my opinion, if you're basic and boring like Charli D'Amelio and her nice and basic and boring sister, are people going to keep tuning into their podcast or watching the content if there's not much personality there, if there's not much talent or anything there? The reason for her success was because young girls that look like her could see themselves in her. She was very malleable to them. But it'll be a real challenge for her and the sister to maintain people's attention. As we've seen, people don't talk about Baby Ariel or any of the other OG, or Zoe Laverne or any of the other OG TikTokers anymore. People that followed them at a certain age grow up and grow out of them. So you got to work really hard, diversify, align yourself with a smart team, and genre other than TikTok, like Addison Rae has with traditional celebrities. I don't see Charli doing that. I don't see Charli D'Amelio befriending real stars the way that Addison has with multiple real celebrities. She should, even though Charli is the most followed person on TikTok, she should take some pointers from Addison Rae.
Absolutely.
And Perez, a question for you, and this comes from our Hollywire CEO and also me as a John Mayer fan. The page that Jana bookmarked on my copy, knowing I'm a John Mayer fan, is this quote: "Suddenly he leaned to me and said, 'I like to watch gay porn, you know.'" So that is something that John Mayer had said to you while he was dating Jessica Simpson. And of course, some of us have gotten the whole other side of the story from Jessica's tell-all open book. But from you being there and seeing all this, what else can you tell us about John Mayer?
Well, I started working on my memoir before Jessica Simpson released hers earlier this year. Mm-hmm. And my book is very honest. Everything that I say happened. And it made me happy to see that her memoir was very honest as well, because I talk about in my book how she's, or was, a big boozer. And she admitted to that and also revealed that she's now several years sober. And having been around her and having been around John long enough, John Mayer is intoxicating, but also his own worst enemy, because he's one of those people that's too smart, perhaps, so cerebral and in his head that he gets in his own way. And I talk about this one wild night in my book that, if anybody doubts happened, he confirmed this. Going back to what I said about John Mayer being so cerebral and wild and just smart, in, I forget what year it was, he had this John Mayer cruise which some of the older viewers might remember because that's when
Mayor
he wore
Craft. The Mayor Craft, Perez. I always wanted to go. Couldn't.
He wore the iconic Borat mankini during that. That was those photos were taken. And
wow.
during the same period of time, John Mayer was wanting to be a stand-up comedian. So he did a set during his cruise that was bootlegged, filmed, or videoed by somebody and then uploaded onto YouTube. And during that stand-up comedy night, he confirmed that he made out with me and said he wanted to out Perez. Like he wanted to play mind games with me, and that's the reason he did it. And listen, yesterday was National Coming Out Day. I am not inferring anything about John Mayer. He has not said he's this, that, or the other. All I will just say is sexuality is a spectrum. And,
Absolutely.
And he's clearly not 100% straight.
I've heard that as well. Not only from you, which I trust, but I've heard it from other people around this town too. It's wild. But I do love John Mayer. Great music. Great music.
Stand-up comedy needs a little work though, perhaps.
Yeah, the stand-up comedy. I don't know about that.
Stop doing that, but he does still love hanging out with comedians, which, as you know, he regularly teams up with Dave Chappelle and does shows with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Perez, something that you cover a lot in this book, and I really want to know, what is your favorite scandal? Maybe a story you broke on PerezHilton.com, or maybe just maybe a scandal that's going on right now.
Well, as Gabi and her former co-stars brilliantly brought to the stage, they told the story of Britney Spears, which I would say, I don't even like saying my favorite scandal when talking about her because she's a human and has hurt a lot. But without a doubt, Britney Spears is the person that I've spoken about the most throughout my 16-year career. And there's many reasons for that. One is there's so much drama there. And secondly, as I talked about Addison Rae earlier, there's something about Addison and Britney, I think, that appeals to a large audience, especially with Britney. We grew up with her from the Mickey Mouse Club to dating Justin Timberlake and then beyond as an adult and a mother and a Vegas headliner. We all, gay, straight, white, black, Latino, Asian, everybody is invested in her to some degree, some passionately and some passively, but everybody knows her and everybody's interested in Britney. And as a result, same with Amanda Bynes. I think we are rooting for her. We just want her to be happy. We want that happy ending for Britney and for Amanda Bynes.
Definitely. And I would say that our generation knows where they were when you broke the story that Britney Spears shaved her head, which now we look back on
2007.
and feel so sad about. But Perez, thank you so much for joining us here at Hollywire's Tea Party. I'm Gabi Conti. You're Perez Hilton.
I'm Jana Rosenberg, and you guys keep it here on Hollywire Monday through Friday for the Hollywire Tea Party live. And go get Perez's book. It's so good.
It's so good. You need it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.